Hi, this is Frank Todaro, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1 Mike and the rest of the comic crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, and Image to IDW, Boom Studios, and Zenescope, we have everything right here. We cover things like Transformers, He-Man, superheroes, TMNT, and Radiant Black. Yeah, we have all that and so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So, without further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we're reading right now, here inside the pull bag.
11 years, can you believe it? Holy crap, folks. This is TFG and Mike from the Geekcast Radio Network. This is episode 546 of the Pull Bag, and this is our 11th year anniversary of being online. March 5th, 2013 is when Steve Megatron and I launched the Pull Bag. And I'm not going to keep you guys long. We've got something in store for you here. Continuing on with mine and Matrix Prime, aka Jesse Early's Void Rivals coverage on his show, another comic review. So go check that out. The new link to his new website will be in the show notes, folks. But we talk about Void Rivals number 7, so you're going to hear that. It's 11 years. It's amazing. Thank you to everybody who has supported the show over these last 11 years. But I don't have too many other nostalgic things to say right now at this moment. Maybe when we get to 15 years, in 4 years from now or so. But absolutely, thank you to everybody who has always listened, who has commented, who has interacted with me over these last 11 years for this specific podcast, talking about comics. God, 11 years of my life has been all about comics. I never thought I would ever say that, as I've said in many other shows. I've always been a cartoon kid, not a comics kid, at least when I was a kid. But these last 11 years, 545, 46 now, episodes, so many comics that we've covered in 11 years. It's amazing, folks. So thank you again, and here is another comic review with myself and Jesse Early, aka Matrix Prime. Enjoy!
Welcome to another comic review. I am Jesse, and as always, I am joined by TFG1 Mike from GeekCastRadio.com.
Yes, I am here.
He's here, I think. And I think presumably he's read this. So today we're going to be talking about Void Rivals number 7 by Kirkman, Dave Felici, and Lopez. This is after a long break. I don't even remember when the last issue came out.
I can tell you. Kind of, sort of.
Was it November?
Well, probably November, December, because I published episode 539 of the Pull Bag, which was us talking issues 4 to 6 on December 6th of 2023.
Okay.
So we are now at March 10th. We are on Super Mario Day, folks. It's March 10th. Happy Mario Day, everybody.
Yeah, we're recording this on Super Mario Day. Look at us. Right. So there's been a large gap here, but probably for good reason, I hope.
Well, they had to launch all the other things. They had to launch Transformers. Seriously, like comic book companies, they spread things out sometimes. They don't always do everything all at once for the most part. And this had a first arc. I could see like issues saying, "Oh, maybe something wrong if the first story arc didn't end." Like if they went on break between issues 5 and 6, and we didn't get the ending of. I could see, what's going on? What? No, it's just that they needed to do Transformers and G.I. Joe and multiple G.I. Joe characters, etc., etc. So that's probably what it was. I don't think there was anything that like major. I don't think there was print. I haven't seen anything in the news saying Image Comics and SkyBound Entertainment have had print issues or they've had to switch print. This isn't like what happened during the pandemic.
Right. All right. Well, quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. New story arc. as you just mentioned. Derek and Selila traverse the northern wasteland. Danger lurks around every corner. The Void Rivals corner of the Energon universe continues to grow as Proximus is on the hunt. Dun, dun, dun. All right, my quick rundown. The issue kicks off setting the stage 10 years prior, in which we learn that Derek is working on the bleeding edge in the wastelands, where gravity is so strong it can pull you off the ring if you mess up. That very thing happens during a work accident in which Derek and his work mech are nearly killed but survive after being flung at great distance. We cut to the present where Derek and Selila are overlooking the wastelands as Derek proclaims he has been here before. The android indicates they do not have enough rations to survive the trek, but Derek tells them they only have to make it halfway. The three of them set out across the wasteland. Meanwhile, in a world shrouded in red, Zelilic attempts to make a deal with Proximus to hunt down both Derek and Selila. Wanting to prevent the coming of Golian himself, he agrees to a deal with Zelilic, whatever it is, Zelilic. Back in the real world, we see an android-like torso being reassembled with limbs and armor, but who only moments before looked like a living, breathing being. We close with Mistress Vil saying that Selila is on the path of her calling and that her destination is drawing near. Lilac. Damn these names. Lilac. All right. So now that I stumbled through that, what are your thoughts and review of this issue?
I really like this because it feels like a whole new story arc. But it also feels like if I was going to say not that I would say this to anybody, but no, but seriously, comic books sometimes, like long-running comic books, they will have start and stop points so people can jump on to, like, insert whatever superhero name you want. Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain, whatever it is. Over the last 100 years or so of comics, we've had so many comic books of all those characters. You don't have to start in 1939 when Batman debuted. You can start at 1970. Well, no. My point is that even though I would not recommend anyone start here, I would say they could if they wanted to, because it gives you a prologue of, like you said, 10 years ago. It gives you what happened to Derek and all of that, and then it cuts into the present of what's going on. So even though, I like how this starts, and I love the art. The art, I'm always going to love this art. This art is really, really cool. The colors in here are amazing. I like how this story is progressing from the end of from the whole story arc for the first arc up until now. Now we get Proximus and what's going on with him and how he got created essentially in this issue. And yeah, I'm really digging this.
I guess I would say that if you decided to jump on board here with this story arc, which I think would make sense, right? If you don't want to go back and read those previous 6 issues, I would say this is a good jumping on point. However, with that said, I think the whole Zelilic and Mistress Vil, like if there's you have no backstory on who those characters are.
Right, yeah. I'm just saying that this read as like, oh my god, because this is a new story arc, let's get more new readers in, even though they still want to get the new readers into reading it from the beginning. If somebody you go into a comic book shop, you stumble upon issue 7, you take it home, you read it, you immediately get back in your car, go back to the comic shop and find the volume 1 trade, which collects the first 6 issues to read the rest of what you've missed. Kind of thing. I
mean, it's certainly a good, at least the primary cover here. I don't have the variants because I got the digital version. But if you saw this like on the comic store shelves, I would say this is a good one to kind of draw you in.
Yep, absolutely.
But overall, I guess my thoughts. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I know we've talked about this before. I'm going to keep bringing it up. It feels like what we got here, and I know it's the very first issue of a new story arc. But it felt very slow to me, like very slow paced. Yeah.
I think so. For me, I like the 10 years ago thing because we get the history of, how Derek and whatever, and then we get to Derek and Selila. And I think the reason why it slows down is because we need to learn about Proximus and all this stuff between these other 2 characters. And I thought this went really fast. After he gets built or assembled or whatever you want, after his appearance on location 16 or whatever, where it says, welcome back, Proximus, I will take my leave, blah, blah, blah. It's the full image of him. I think it goes a little fast after that because we pretty much have like 4 pages after that page.
Well, I'll say that it goes really fast because there are very few pages with words on them. I mean, I think I'm just swiping through this right now, and I think there are 3 pages where it looks like it's full of text. Otherwise, you've got multiple pages with multiple panels of like nothing but the artwork. Especially like the one where you see Proximus being assembled. It's like, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's 16 panels there on one page, and it's like there's no words at all.
Well, yeah, but on that page, you really can't put. So on the previous page, he has agreed. Release him, Golan. Yes, sir, at once. May Zerta have mercy on us all. And then we just see him being assembled. Like, what did you want with it being this page? Like, if it wasn't a different form, with it being those 16 panels, where could they have put words in these panels to tell? Like, that's the point. It's a visual. And again, if you're reading on the Kindle app, specifically on the Kindle app on whatever device you choose, if you use the guided view, the storyboard moments, you see basically each section of the body of the character being built. So it's a visual story. It doesn't need words because we get the words from the characters after he's built or reassembled or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I would just say that overall, I think this issue is more visual storytelling. Mm-hmm. As opposed to written word on the page. So I think that's why it felt like the issue was it just you could just breeze right through it because there isn't a lot of text here. But like I said, that said, I did like the issue. I just felt like, despite the fact that the issue went fast, I feel like the story is going slow. If that makes sense.
Okay. Well, yeah, because like you said, we've had a 3-month hiatus between the end of the first story and the start of this new one. And the reason why you probably feel, and you can correct me, obviously, because you know your own feelings, but the reason why you probably feel it's going slow is because we haven't read the damn thing in 3.5 months, because we haven't had it in 3.5 months. Whereas me, I'm like, oh, okay. And that's why I like this, where it's like, even though I did go back and I reread issue 6 to remind myself of the final part of the first story, I don't feel like I needed to do that with this because it starts with that prologue of 10 years ago and what was going on with Derek and his partner then. So
right.
We'll see what happens, I guess.
Now, what are your thoughts on what is going on here with the Proximus character? Well, how come we see, in a couple of pages here, and I dubbed it as, this, what did I say here? This world shrouded in red. It's almost like he's like in some like simulation or like some VR type thing. Almost like he's talking through his mind or something.
Yeah, so you're talking about where it starts off and it says, I don't understand. What's to understand? It's really very simple. So that whole giant page where it's red, I think it's part of the prison he's in, maybe? I don't know.
Well, so I don't know that Proximus is in a prison, right? Because after we leave those pages, right, we then see his torso in a tank, almost like a Bacta tank like you would see in Star Wars, right? He's in some sort of tank. Half of his face is ripped off. I don't know if he's fully robotic, if he's just an android, or what's going on here. I would imagine at some point he was a living, breathing creature, but now he appears to be more robot than anything.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where we see, like, afterwards, he's agreed to go and hunt those two down, and then we start to see him being reassembled into this hunter type figure.
Yep.
So I don't know if if they're like communicating through the minds, if they're like he has like some existence in like some VR world, like his consciousness is like uploaded somewhere, so he has an actual physical body.
So I think what it is just looking at this again really quickly, because he's in the tank, I think he is talking to we are meant to look at this as I think, and I could, again, if I'm wrong, folks, fine, I'm wrong. I don't know. This is just what I'm assuming. So again, we start with that first page where we see him all in red around his face with the green thing on his head. We then get the next 2 pages of all red everything. And what I think that is it's the prison that he's in, and he's talking to whoever, the guard or whatever the person, whatever. And then as we see it change from red to green on the next page, it goes from the inside of the prison to the outside of it, to where we actually see the outside, and then we see him being rebuilt. So what I think is we're meant to explore and see him being held captive in this, like you said, BAFTA tank type of thing.
So you think that those previous pages where, again, it's got the red background, do you think it's like his consciousness, like his mind being imprisoned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it is. Visually, the artists and DeFelici and everybody else, visually, the artists need to show us something, and Kirkman, as the writer, needs to have a story be told. And what they're doing is you're looking into the mind of the prisoner because he's basically nothing. Like, if you look at the page right before he's being rebuilt, the middle part of, like, there's nothing there. Like, there's a torso there. Like, that's why they have to rebuild him, is because it's just his mind. And that's what we're meant to see in this, is that all the red pages are what is going on in his mind, I think.
Yeah, so I did not go back and read issue number 6 before reading this. So it's been months since I've done anything or read anything about Void Rivals. So I know Proximus, the name Proximus has come up. In your rereading of 6, did it talk about him being in prison?
It talked about him, if I remember, it's been a few. I just reread this right before we did this recording, but it's been a few days since I looked at issue 6. I remember they talked about the coming of Proximus and what that is going, like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Proximus is going to come hunt Derek and Salila down or whatever kind of thing. So that's what I remember about it.
Right. So now he does say, when I say he, I mean Proximus, he does say that he's willing to help because he wants to help prevent the coming of Goliath as well. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Goliath character is potentially a Transformer at all?
I don't know, and I hope not.
And you're hoping it's not Unicron, right?
Too early. One story arc, and then way too. No.
I mean, first of all, we've already got Devastator, right? So I'm just saying.
Yes, but okay. And again, if Goliath, I think all of the characters that we are meeting in Void Rivals that are not already existing Transformer names are newly created characters for the Void Rivals story and for the Void Rivals series. The only time I think Transformers or G.I. Joe, because G.I. Joe might end up coming into this, who knows? The only time I think Transformers are going to come into this is if we see the classic characters we're going to see Springer, I think, in issue 9. We've already seen Shockwave. We've seen, like you said, Devastator and all that. So, I don't know. But I think it's a specific character to this series. I don't think it's them trying to rename Unicron. They're not that,
I don't know. Whenever I see that name, I think Goliath, and then I think Unicron. So.
Yeah, whenever I see Goliath, I think of a big-ass truck from Knight Rider with a molecular bonded shell. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
All right, so I guess any closing thoughts on issue 7 here?
I guess we can bring up the elephant in the room once again.
Talk to the android.
Yeah, talk to the android. First of all, I said this to you off air. I'll say it again on air because I don't care, honestly. If they hear it, they hear it. If they don't, they don't. Whatever. Because I've been running the pull bag for 11 years over on the Geekcast Radio Network, and we review the comics in collected edition trade paperbacks, I have not read a letters section in, I want to say, 10 and a half years or more. Because there was a specific moment in the podcast's history where we were covering Welcome Back Frank, and Welcome Back Frank from Marvel, the Punisher book, is, if you get the omnibus, it's all 12 issues in one big-ass hardcover book. And I fell asleep reading it, not because of the material, but because of the weight of the thing while I was holding it in my hand. And I'm like, the next day I went digital. The very next day. So the whole point in me saying all of this is to say that when I was reading letters columns, you have to use colors in a better way than what SkyBound is doing with all of their books, not just this one. I had told you where, yes, I can see, as a visually impaired person, I was born legally blind. I have optic atrophy with nystagmus or nystagmatism or something. Like, I can see Talk to the Handroid. That's pretty much all I can see, unless I zoom in with the Kindle app, and then I can actually read it, and it's fine. But you had shared a picture of your actual comic book, because you have the physical issue of this, right?
Yeah, I do not have the physical issue. What I shared with you, and then I actually sent an email to SkyBound with the screenshot of. So I took a screenshot of this issue within my Kindle reader, just in the web, because you can write Amazon has a online Kindle version of the reader. So it's just read.amazon.com. You can view any of your books there. But I had this issue pulled up, and I have, so I work in web, and a lot of the stuff that I do, or one of the things that I'm passionate about, I will say, is web accessibility. And that comes in kind of all shapes, sizes, forms. But one of them, or one of those aspects of that, would be color contrast. And I have a color contrast tool here on my computer that I use, and it allows you to pick both the background color as well as the foreground color. In this case, the foreground color would be the color of the text. And it tells you kind of what the contrast ratio is. And you can set it, when it comes to web accessibility, the web accessibility guidelines have different levels, and it's checking for level AA, which is kind of in the middle.
Okay.
And, it just completely fails for accessibility. Where it does not fail and where you can read it is, so on in the letters section here, it's called Talk to the Handroid. There is two different types of text. There's bolded text, and then there's non-bolded text. The bolded text against this color background, it actually is accessible. It does pass. You can read it.
Yes.
And the bolded text comes from whoever is answering the letters here.
Right.
So that's really the text that's coming from SkyBound, or from this creative team here. So they're the ones who are providing the answers. Everything that they're answering in bold.
To give credit, it's Sean Mankiewicz and Robert Kirk.
Okay.
Sean Mankiewicz, I believe, is the one actually answering the letters. I couldn't, again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but at the end of the second page of the letters section, it says, "That's it for this month. We'll be back next month, blah, blah, blah." And then the first name is Sean Mankiewicz. So I assume it's him that's I could be wrong, but I assume.
Yeah, and then right below that is Robert Kirkman. So yeah, it's probably both of them, yeah. But the questions that people ask, right, because it's asking you here, send your questions to voidrivals@skybound.com. The questions that are being asked, very, very hard to read because they're not bolded. Yeah. And I know what they're doing, right? They're trying to distinguish, here's our answers from the questions, but the color of the text they're using against the color of the background is totally inaccessible.
Yeah, it's way too light. Like I said, I have to zoom in where I can actually read, "Hello, VR team, really enjoying the series, blah, 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 blah," from David Gearing. Like, I can read that only if I zoom in on it. Like, I can't, like, just looking at the page itself on my Google Pixel 6 Pro on the Kindle app, I can't, other than talk to the Handroid and send your questions to, I cannot read anything. I know there's text there, bold and unbold, but I can't actually read any of it unless it's super zoomed in, or if I had the physical comic book, I would have to probably hold it 2 inches away from my face.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you have the actual physical book and you have to do that, you can only zoom it so far, right?
Yeah.
It's just pulling it directly to your face. Whereas digitally, you can zoom it in. And then if you still need it closer, right, you can pull it closer to your face. Mm-hmm. And as someone, I should wear glasses. I don't. I haven't been to the eye doctor in years, even though I'm going next month. But I will say, I even have a hard time reading this text unless I do zoom in myself. And then even then, right, if I'm on my computer versus my iPad here, the colors aren't exactly the same between the two, and it's actually harder to read on my monitor on the computer than it is on the iPad, even when I do zoom in.
Yeah. Okay. So can I respond to that really quickly? Because you just started this. Okay. So Comixology, before Amazon bought them, used to be amazing on every platform: PC, Mac, iPhone, iPad, whatever, Android, everything. It used to be awesome. I constantly bring up this guided view panel by panel technology thing that they had coined way back when. They still have it, but they only have it on mobile, because on the new Kindle thing, the app and the read on Amazon, they want you to pinch to zoom. And I'm like, no, the whole point of the guided view was you put it in that mode and you swipe. Okay, perfect example. I'll just do this really quick.
Well, so the guided view does work for me in the browser.
Does it really? I'll have to figure that out.
It does, yeah.
It was not working for me in the browser.
I just have to double click on a panel and it zooms in.
Right. Yeah. And then once you double click on the panel, that has never worked for me in the browser. But once you double click on the panel, it zooms in and it carries your eye to where it wants to go following the story. And that was always so damn cool because it was, for me, again, as a legally whatever blind person, it was much better than having to have a physical book 2 inches away from my face and figuring out where my eyes are supposed to go in the story.
Yeah, no, I'm not defending Amazon, but it does work.
No, I know, I understand. I'm just saying, again, maybe I need to look into it again. But every time I've gone over there, it's like, you're going to pinch to zoom. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to get a larger tablet at some point, or I'll just keep reading it on my phone, which is fine for me. So, but it is what it is. Void Rivals, number 7. Excited to have the series back. Interested to see where it's going to go. Interested to see really where the hell and how the hell they're going to fit Springer into this story. Ugh.
Yeah, so you wanted to mention issue number 8 here because we have a first look.
Well, yeah, we have a first look for issue 8, and on that page you can see the multiple variant covers. You can it actually gives you the full page preview, and oh man, Proxima on a motorcycle, that's amazing. Wow. That's cool because this preview here that they're doing it's actually showing you the preview of issue 8.
The art on, I would say the majority of the art for these covers here, these variant covers, is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And most of the time, I'm perfectly fine with whatever the digital thing get. Most of the time, usually when I get into variant covers, is if I want a specific one for art for the pull bag thing for the banner art for the pull bag. But yeah, no, man, that first cover with Proxima on it with the bow, hopefully that's the main cover because that's my favorite. And that third one right there, wow, man, these covers, holy crap. So cool.
Now this mentions, I lost it here because I clicked on a cover. Where did it go here? Oh, it says, up here at the top, the title. It says Derek and Salila face certain death in Void Rivals number 8, which I don't think is going to be the case, but...
Yeah. Well, just because they face it doesn't mean that it actually happens. You can face certain death, just don't die. You can hang. In 2016, folks, there were people hanging off the sides of cliffs in California to catch Pokemon. For crap's sake, you can face certain death, just don't die.
No, again, this is just for a quick first look at number 8. We know that Springer is going to pop up in number 9 because they've already released that information. Going back to this issue really quick, I did want to ask you a question about this. So let me pan over here. All right. So my question is, and what Derek here says in this issue, if I told you, I swear you wouldn't believe me, even after what we saw on that planetoid where we first met. So obviously we know who he's talking about, right?
Right.
My question is, in this reference to a Transformer, do you think he's also do you think at this point he's already met Springer, who is presumably somewhere here in the wasteland? Do you think in his first trip there, in his walk back or whatever, do you think he encountered him?
I don't know, but I would like to not think so, because I would like the Void Rivals characters to be able to meet the Transformers as the story happens. It's fine if a character has history with a different character. Any character, it doesn't matter what character, you insert whatever character you want, but it's fine if Derek and Springer have a past or whatever and they reference that, even though we've never seen it. But because this is all this Energon universe stuff, I kind of want to see them to do new things and not have to worry about, this is the adventure they went on 15 years ago instead of 10.
All right. I was just wondering because I'm looking back at issue number 1 here, and Derek doesn't make any sort of, he doesn't question who or what Jetfire is. Salila's what is that? And Derek says nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if he's already had some experience or encounter with a Transformer. That Transformer being Springer.
I don't think so.
No. All right. Well, we'll find out in 2 issues.
We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out in issue 9.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess anything else in closing?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it.
How about plugs?
Well, geekcastradio.com, you can check out all the content we've done over there. The Pullbag, which is my comic book show that I've been doing for 11 years. We've got 540-something episodes now. So, yeah, just working on that and just working on a bunch of other things as well.
You don't want to promote your Blue Sky?
I'm not on it enough.
All right, well, we have a website. You can check it out at anothercomicreview.com. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/matrix_prime. And you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Jesse Early, JESSEEARLEY.BSKY.social, or you can just search for Jesse Early. You can find me on there. They do have hashtags now that function. Yay!
Yay!
And I actually while we were recording this, I actually just got an email from Blue Sky. And they didn't say that my account was terminated. They said that they just hired a new head of trust and safety.
Oh, of course.
So I guess that's to counter the X platform.
I guess. I don't know what's going on with social media. I'm barely on any of it right now. Like, I'm there. I have my Facebook. I have the X. I have the whatever. I'm more doom scrolling through Instagram reels than anything else nowadays. So,
yeah, that could be a time suck.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right. I guess that's it. What do we have coming out next? We've got
Transformers number something.
Is that this week?
I think.
Is that issue number
6? 7? 6.
No, not 6. What is that? I got to look at my issues here.
I don't want to look at my issues. I'm tired of looking at my issues.
Oh, no, you're right. It's issue 6. Transformers number 6.
I thought it was issue 6. Yeah, I thought it was.
I'm like, that doesn't sound right. That comes out, this week, March 13th. That's going to wrap up that story arc.
Yes, it is.
I'm predicting more bloodshed in that one. So.
Oh, of course. I mean, come on. Like, yeah.
As also the last issue, drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. So.
Okay, we've talked about this before.
Doom and gloom, my friends. Doom and gloom.
Stop it. It is not. Stop. Don't. Okay. As much as I'm a conspiracy nut against AI, don't doom and gloom artists for comics. No. He's just stepping back. He's letting... Again, I don't mind seeing new art. When you go through various IDW things from 2.0 to whenever they ended it, there were multiple series outside of More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in the Skies, miniseries, spotlights, one-shots, where they gave writers and artists a shot to do something in the brand. So I'm perfectly fine with somebody new taking over the art, especially if it's going to let Daniel focus more on developing the current story as well as future stories, because doing both at the same time, I know from talking to writers and artists in the past, it's difficult work to do them both at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he would have like zero free time, but he's so good at it. So.
Well, true.
All right, so we got Transformers number 6 coming out. We have Cobra Commander number 3 coming out, not this coming week, but next week.
2 weeks.
And at the end of the month, we have Duke number 4. So.
Duke number 4. Oh, geez, Duke number 4. That's right. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Their release schedule is all over the place, folks. That's why I said at the beginning of this, where it's like, yeah, we waited 3 months for Void Rivals number 7 for the new story arc because they had to do all these other things in the middle of that.
Well, I'm now up to 5 comics a month. Between Void Rivals, Transformers, Cobra Commander, and Duke, and then I'm buying a Real American Heroes. So.
Yep. There you go.
There we go. So.
There you go. Yep.
All right. I guess anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, till next time. Again, I don't know what's coming up next. Probably Transformers. Maybe we'll see Ryan again. Maybe. Till then, it's Jesse signing off.
Welcome to the Last Comic Shop Podcast,
a comic book podcast that actually talks about comics.
Yep, each week we open the shop up and read and discuss a comic.
Sometimes we pair that up with comic book movies or TV shows.
Or not. Lots of times it's just comic books and sound effects.
Oh, yes, definitely lots of sound effects.
So tune in on all the major podcasting platforms for the Last Comic Shop Podcast, or check out our library of evergreen shows at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Pull Bag, episode 546, featuring the crossover with another comic review by Jesse Early, aka Matrix Prime. I have been TFG1 Mike. Thank you for joining us. Coming up here inside the Pull Bag, we are fully loaded. Superman Unchained is the next episode. After that, TMNT, The Last Ronin. Yes, myself and Joe Reed are going to get to do that, as well as Adam Ray will be returning to talk about Deadpool Does Shakespeare. That will round out the end of March. And then in April, Joe and I will be back into the Massive Verse with Radiant Black Volume 4 and the Radiant Pink trade paperback. And there'll probably be a bunch of other stuff too, folks. I don't know. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.